Welcome back to MustacheMoto. Today we're putting the sexy in navigation. All right, I'm really excited to review this. This is the Beeline Moto II navigation device. If you watch this channel, you know I love CarPlay. I've got it on my bikes. I use it all the time. It is a phenomenal tool, especially if you're somebody who rides a lot, where if you're using it for work or commuting, or on trips where you need the navigation, you want to have music, you want to have all those great things that you get when you use CarPlay in your car, and you're going to get that piped through your helmet. But there's also a negative to CarPlay, and that is it distracts you. I mean, it pulls your attention down. You know, usually it's the map that's up for me, but no matter where I am, I kind of find my eyes gravitating and checking the map, how far till my next turn, those sorts of things. That's one reason I really like the Qi CarPlay, where you can turn the screen off, but you still got phone calls coming in, maybe text messages being alerted, all those things that take you out of the flow state, and that state where you've kind of lost your other thoughts, and you've become one with the bike and one with the road. And a lot of us, that's why we ride. So this is a navigation device that helps keep you in that flow state. So if that's why you're riding, if that's the majority of your riding, this could be a really good option for you. It's also really cool looking. I mean, it looks like a little gauge, so it would definitely fit on a older bike, any vintage bike. It would fit right in. If you have cruisers, or if you've got a bike that you really like the look of and you want to keep it simple and clean and you don't want a screen on it, this thing would be awesome. Let me mention that Beeline sent me the Moto 2 for the review. I actually requested it because I've seen it online. I thought it was a really cool idea. They have no editorial control over this video, and I don't get anything from them for the video, for the review, or if you buy it. But I think it's pretty cool. So let's talk about the navigation on this device. It's a simplified navigation. It's not going to give you lots and lots of information, but that's what you want it for. That's why you're using this instead of a CarPlay device. So of course you set up your navigation on the phone, on your app, and it's connected. So it's using your phone's GPS. It's not built into this device. And then what you see is going to be a simplified map. Just shows the street you're on and maybe a surrounding street. It shows your next turn and the distance to your next turn. That's it. You can have it show you the speed limit. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then when you approach a turn, you can have it either do your regular, verbal cues and telling you what the next street is and where you're going to turn and all of that. But you can turn that off and just have a chime. And that'll be a little ding from the actual device. And then if you're connected to your helmet, if you've got a Senna or Cardo or Pack Talk or any of those, and you're connected to your phone, you'll get just a nice little ching, a nice little chime telling you that the turn's approaching, and then a little double chime when you actually get to the turn. So you'll know to look down, see which direction you're going, and keep moving. And that's a lot less intrusive than actually, in 1/10 of a mile, turn left on Sisson Avenue, and then keep to the right. You don't need all that all the time. So when you're just cruising, if you want to amble, this is a fantastic device for that. To continue with the navigation on this, the app is really cool in that when you program in where you want to go, you can choose fast, fun, or relaxed. And it's going to give you a totally different route depending on what you choose. It'll also tell you the percentage of highway and the percentage of gravel. You can turn gravel off if you're not into, that kind of back roads. But it's going to adjust, and it's going to show you on the map, on the app that is, on your phone, where you're going. So you can decide if that's a great route, if it's windy enough for you. You could put in a waypoint, like a interim stop, just to make the map go where you want. Very cool. It also does reroute as long as you've got cellular service. If you're out of service, it's just going to route you back to where you left the route, the original route that it knows. So that's one thing to keep in mind. As far as navigation, another great thing is you can load a GPX file into your phone and have it route you here. So you could go in and do backcountry discovery route, or you could do your own particular route that you want to do and have it tell you where to go on this little device in an unobtrusive way. That's pretty cool. There's also an option if you pay the subscription, which is I think $50 a year or $5 a month. And I hate subscriptions, but this one's got some cool options. One of them is a generate feature. So you can tell it how far you want to go, and it's going to generate a route for you based on fun, relaxed, fast, whatever you want. That's pretty cool. So if you just want to go on a 30-mile ride, 50-mile ride, 200-mile ride, it's going to draw you out a route for you. You can also do it with an endpoint in mind. So if I wanted to ride from here to Chattanooga, and I want to, that's a 2-hour ride normally if I went straight on the interstate, but I got all day, I could do a 5 or 6 hour ride. I could tell it I want to go 250 miles, and it's going to route me all over the place and through windy roads and around, in places I haven't been, and then I'll end up in Chattanooga at the end. Pretty cool feature there. And if you want to really get, adventurous, if you want to choose your own adventure kind of route, you can put your destination in and you can tell it to only show you the compass heading to get there and the distance. So the map, instead of being a map, it'll just be an arrow that's going to constantly point in the direction of your final destination. And then you got to figure out how to get there. That could be a pretty fun way to discover some new roads and just to get yourself lost without being fully lost, because you got the device here, you know where you're going, and you could always stop and then reroute if you wanted to. Pretty sweet. Let's see. I didn't show you how thin it is. Nice small device. This is the gunmetal gray. Metal one, I think they have a silver and they have black. They're about $200. It's battery powered. You'll get about 14 hours of navigation out of it on one charge, which is pretty sweet. I mean, I'm not going to ride more than 14 hours in a day. And if I'm riding that kind of distance, I'm probably going to use the bike with the CarPlay on it. And then standby, it goes for over a month. So you don't have to be, too worried about charging it. USB-C, so that's an easy way to charge, just like everything else. And then it's also got 2 charging pins on the back, so you can buy a hardwired charger for your bike that's on the mount. So when you mount it, it's going to continually charge. I'd probably do that if I was going to use this as my primary navigation on a bike, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the charging. As I say that, you've got a screen that has speedometer, and you've got an odometer screen on it. So you could conceivably use this, if you were building a custom bike, you could use this as your main dashboard if you just wanted that basic information. Okay, so it's got an LED that flashes pretty bright when you approach a turn and when you get to the turn. I found that if it's not in your direct line of sight, it's not quite bright enough to grab your attention. Obviously, if it is in your line of sight, you're going to see that, as well as hear the chime. This comes with a universal mount, which is a little tiny plastic mount that just attaches to your handlebars with silicone rubber bands. It's actually surprisingly good. It's really low profile, easy to take on and off. Honestly, that's probably all you really need. They do make a more permanent, solid, heavy metal mount that mounts on your handlebars. And they have another one that's much smaller, so you can mount it on a crossbar if you've got a braced handlebar, or you can mount it on your mirror, like on the mirror stem, if that's where you want to put the device. And it just, a little quarter turn, pops in, and it's very, very secure once it's in any of those mounts. Take a look real quick and see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, if you do the subscription, you also get traffic updates, and it's supposed to route around traffic. Now, I'm in Atlanta. If I'm going to be dealing with traffic and worrying about that, I'm going to be using the CarPlay and Waze because I think that's probably a lot more accurate and got better information. So I didn't mess with the traffic that much on it, but it is there. All right, let's talk about the two negatives that I've found with this. One is, so it's got a setting that you can have it show you the current speed limit for where you're riding. That's great, except it's really, really, really inaccurate. It was showing 30 miles per hour, whether I was in 15, 25, 30, 45, it still showed 30. And then it was showing 65 on the highway. Speed would drop to 45, it would still say 65. So it's unreliable. You can turn that off so you don't see it, which is what I did, because at least in my area in Atlanta, it was, and Georgia, it was kind of useless. The other problem, and this is probably the biggest problem with it, is the alerts. You get the first alert you get before a turn is just 1/10 of a mile before the turn. So if you're going 60 miles an hour, that's 10 seconds before your turn is your first alert. And then you got to glance down, see where you're going, slow down, get in the right lane. If you're on the highway going 80, you got like 6 seconds. It's not going to happen unless you keep looking down and you got an idea of when the turn's coming and where you're going. I really wish it was adjustable, like a half a mile would be great. I've put in a ticket with them and I've sent a message to my contact. So we'll see if they can change that. I don't see why it would be a problem to have a future update, firmware update that would fix that. It would make a huge difference to the usability of this, because then you wouldn't even have to look at it. I mean, on the BMW, on UTA, if I mount it on the handlebars, it's actually below. I can't see it because of the chin bar on my helmet. So I'm not even able to see it without looking down. So it'd be great if I never had to look down until it chimed. And then I had plenty of time to get into the lane I needed to get out of or to exit the interstate or make whatever turn I needed to make. So is this going to replace CarPlay for me? No. CarPlay is awesome, especially on longer trips, in traffic, using the bike for work, being able to take calls, hearing messages, listening to music, all very important at times. But if I'm just going to be ambling around, if I just want to go explore, if I want to go somewhere new, this is what I'm going to be using, and turn off or even just take off the CarPlay device. And I think permanently this is probably going to live on the DR650. I mean, UTA is modern bike. You got the ABS, you got ride control, you got digital dashboard, you've got traction control, stability control, all these rider aids, all these electronics, it's fuel injected. CarPlay kind of fits. The DR650, absolutely none of that. No traction control, no ABS. It's carbureted. There's no digital information. This would fit perfectly on that and kind of keep in that pure motorcycling, just mindset of no distractions, doing it all yourself. All right, check it out, Beeline Moto II. I love it. Now get out there and ride.